Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ms. Lily English, the place where learning English feels simple, friendly, and full of real-life conversations. I'm Lily, and I'm so happy to be here with you today.
And I'm Jason. It feels so good to be back with all of you wonderful listeners. Honestly, every time we sit down to record, I feel excited, like we're sitting in a cozy cafe with thousands of friends around the world. So, Lily, how are you feeling today?
I feel wonderful, Jason. I had a very calm morning. You know those mornings when everything is peaceful and slow? I woke up early, made some tea, sat by the window, and just enjoyed the quiet. A quiet morning really sets the tone for the day.
That sounds lovely. My morning was nice too. I woke up, made myself a cup of coffee, and stared out the window like I was the main character in a dramatic movie. Except I wasn't thinking about anything deep. I was actually thinking about pancakes.
I love how you look philosophical on the outside, but are thinking about food on the inside.
It's my special talent. But anyway, what you just described, your morning, that is something from the past. And that connects perfectly to today's topic.
Exactly. Today we are going to talk about something incredibly useful, the past tense, how to talk about things that already happened. Yesterday, last week, this morning, even a few minutes ago.
And the best part is, once you learn the basic patterns, talking about the past becomes fun and natural. No stress, no fear.
So let's begin with something simple, the verb to be. In the present, we say am, is, are. In the past, they change to was or were.
Easy. So today I am happy. Yesterday I
Was happy, good. If today we are at home, yesterday we.
were at home. Yes. And if today the weather is nice, yesterday the weather was nice.
Perfect. Listeners, remember, am is to was and are to were. You will use these all the time.
Let's make it practical. Lily, where were you yesterday evening?
Yesterday evening, I was at the supermarket. I needed vegetables, fruit, and some snacks. What about you? Where were you?
I was at home. I sat on my sofa and watched videos. My sofa probably thinks I'm a full-time employee.
Your sofa needs a vacation.
Probably. But see, we both used was. So useful and natural.
Now, let's move to action verbs, because this is where most learners become nervous. But don't worry, we'll make it clear and simple. Many English verbs form the past tense by adding ed.
Yes, walk becomes walked. Talk becomes talked. Cook becomes cooked. Watch becomes watched.
So if today I walk to school, yesterday I walked to school. If today I talk with my friend, yesterday I talked with my friend.
And if today I watch a movie, last night I watched a movie.
Perfect! You see, the ed form is your best friend. But of course, English loves to be interesting, so we also have irregular verbs.
The verbs that like to surprise you.
Exactly. Let's start with a very common one, go. Today, I go. Yesterday, I.
Went. Yesterday I went to the store.
Good! Another one is eat. Today, I eat. Yesterday.
I ate. Yesterday I ate breakfast at a cafe.
And what about drink? Today, I drink water. Yesterday, I.
Drank. Yesterday I drank so much coffee that I started talking faster than usual.
You always talk fast. More coffee isn't helping.
True.
Next is very useful irregular verb is see. Today, I see something. Yesterday, I.
Saw. Yesterday I saw a beautiful sunset, and I also saw a tiny dog wearing sunglasses.
A dog with sunglasses. That dog is living a fashionable life.
More fashionable than me, for sure.
Next, take. Today, I take photos. Yesterday, I.
Took photos. Yesterday I took a picture of my breakfast. It wasn't even pretty, but I took it anyway.
We all do that. It's modern life.
Exactly.
See, listeners? Irregular verbs might look different, but if you hear them often in real conversations, they become easy to remember.
Yes, they're like songs. You hear them enough, and suddenly you know them.
So, Jason, let's try something practical. Tell our listeners about your last weekend using both regular and irregular verbs.
Okay, last weekend was really nice. On Saturday morning, I went to the city with a friend. We walked around the streets and looked at the shops. I saw a jacket that I really liked, but I didn't buy it.
Why not? Was it expensive?
No, my wallet was just feeling nervous.
Fair enough.
After walking around, we went to a cafe. I ate a delicious sandwich and drank iced tea. The weather was warm, so the cold drink felt perfect. Then we talked for a long time about life, work, dreams. I love those conversations. After that, we took the bus home.
That is such a great example for everyone listening. You mixed regular verbs, walked, looked, talked, and irregular verbs, went, saw, ate, drank, took, just like natural English conversations.
Exactly. This is how people speak in real life. The past tense isn't something separate from daily conversation. It's part of every story.
Speaking of stories, I want to share my example too, but I think I'll save my story for the beginning of part 2 because it continues perfectly from what you just described. That way, our listeners can follow the flow smoothly from your story to mine.
Yes, that sounds perfect. And listeners, in the next part, Lily will tell a full story using lots of past tense verbs, regular and irregular, so you can hear everything in action. It's going to help you understand, remember, and feel confident using these verbs in your own stories.
And maybe we'll also talk about some tricky verbs, the ones learners often confuse. I've got a list ready.
Oh no, Lily has a list. That means I'll probably be quizzed.
Maybe you'll find out in part 2.
Great! Now I'm nervous, but excited. So let's keep the energy going because we're just getting warmed up and there's a lot more to explore about talking in the past.
All right, Jason, no need to stay nervous. My list of verbs isn't scary at all, and I'm sure our listeners will enjoy hearing more examples of the past tense in real conversations. And since you shared your weekend story earlier, I think it's my turn now. Let me tell you about my last holiday because it's a perfect example of how we use regular and irregular verbs naturally without thinking too much.
Yes, please. Your stories always make me want to pack a suitcase. Go ahead. I'm ready to imagine a peaceful vacation.
Well, my last holiday was in the spring. I wanted something quiet, something slow, so I went to a small town in the countryside. I didn't want noise or traffic or stress. I wanted fresh air, beautiful views, and simple days. I went with my younger sister, and we stayed in a small family-run hotel. The hotel was old, but beautiful. It had wooden floors, big windows, and every morning sunlight entered the room softly like it was greeting us.
That already sounds like a dream. What did you two do there?
Every morning, we woke up early and walked through the hills. The weather was perfect. Blue sky, fresh wind, birds everywhere. We saw sheep and cows eating grass peacefully. One sheep even walked behind us for a few minutes. I think it wanted to explore with us.
That sheep clearly had a strong bond with you. Animals always pick you.
Maybe it just liked my shoes. But after our long walk, we usually went into the small town. There were local shops selling handmade things, candles, soaps, pottery, and delicious cheese. One afternoon, I bought some local cheese, and my sister bought fresh bread. We sat near a little lake and ate our lunch while watching the water move gently. We drank fresh juice from a local vendor. Everything tasted simple but perfect.
That kind of peaceful lunch can change your whole mood. I can almost taste the bread and cheese from here.
It was really relaxing. And in the evenings, we usually sat outside the hotel and read books. And here's a tricky verb for our listeners. Today, I read, R-E-A-D. Yesterday, I read, R-E-A-D. Same spelling, different pronunciation. So even though we read every evening, the sound changes in the past tense.
English loves to surprise people like that. Read and read, spelled the same, sound totally different. but your explanation makes it clear.
We also took a lot of photos. The landscape was so beautiful that we couldn't stop. My sister took even more photos than I did. And on one of the days, we visited a small farm. There was a very gentle dog there who followed us around like he was giving us a tour of his home. We talked to the farmer, learned about local traditions, and enjoyed the simple lifestyle.
So a sheep followed you, and then a dog followed you. I'm telling you, animals have decided that you are their leader.
I should start charging for my animal friends services. But anyway, that was my holiday. Very calm, very beautiful, and full of moments that allowed me to use past tense naturally, without thinking.
And listeners, did you catch all the verbs she used? Went, stayed, woke, walked, saw, bought, ate, drank, read, took, talked, learned. She didn't memorize a list, she just told her story. That's the real secret to mastering the past tense.
Exactly. And now that we've shared stories, I want to talk about some common mistakes learners make when using the past tense. These mistakes are totally normal, and correcting them makes your English stronger.
Yes, let's go through them. I hear many of these too.
The first one is mixing present tense with past tense. For example, yesterday I go to the park. That's incorrect because go must change to went in the past. So the correct sentence is, yesterday I went to the park.
And another one is forgetting to add ed to regular verbs. Someone might say, last night I cooked dinner, but it should be, last night I cooked dinner. That little ed tells your listener that the action happened in the past.
Another common mistake is using was and were incorrectly. Some people say, they was happy, but that's wrong. It should be, they were happy. Or you was tired, but the correct form is you were tired.
Yes, the rule is simple. I, he, she, it equals was. You, we, they equals were. And once you understand that, it becomes automatic.
Another mistake is creating irregular verbs that don't exist, like I'd goed to school. No, it's I went to school. Or I ated breakfast. No, you ate breakfast. Drinked water should be drank water.
English really said, let's make things interesting.
But with enough listening and speaking, they become easy. Now, let's give our listeners a small practice session. We'll ask them simple questions to help them think in the past tense.
Great idea. I'll start. Listeners, if today you say, I go to school, how do you say that about yesterday?
I went to school. Very good. Next one. Today you say, I eat breakfast. Yesterday you...
Ate breakfast. Excellent. Another one. Today you say, I walk to work. Yesterday you...
walked to work. Perfect. Today you say, I watch a movie. Last night you...
watched a movie. And today you say, I drink coffee. Yesterday you...
drink coffee. See how easy it becomes after hearing it a few times?
This kind of quick practice is really helpful because your brain starts to recognize patterns on its own.
Yes, and speaking in the past tense is so important for real-life conversations. We use it every day, talking about our day, our weekend, our plans, our experiences.
And honestly, you don't need to speak perfectly. You just need to speak. Mistakes help you learn faster. A sentence with one small mistake is still better than silence.
Exactly. And when talking about your day, you can create a simple timeline using past tense verbs. For example, I woke up. I ate breakfast. I went to work. I worked for a few hours. I talked with my coworkers. I came home. I watched TV. That already sounds like a natural story.
And it shows how regular and irregular verbs mix together easily. You don't need fancy grammar, just simple sentences that connect your actions.
And I want to introduce a few more irregular verbs before we continue. These are very common in daily life. Come becomes came, make becomes made, give becomes gave, write becomes wrote, and feel becomes felt.
Yes, those are everywhere in natural conversation. I used many of them yesterday. I came home late, made some dinner, felt tired, gave myself a little break, and wrote a message to a friend. See, they fit naturally together.
And hearing them in real sentences helps your brain remember them faster. The more you use them, the more natural it becomes.
And the great thing is, once you start telling stories about your past, you get so better so quickly. You start noticing which verb form feels right, and you correct yourself without worrying too much.
Exactly. And I think now we're ready to continue exploring how to turn simple sentences into a smooth and confident story about your day or your experience. Because once you can talk about your past naturally, your English becomes so much stronger.
Absolutely. And I think we're heading into something really helpful next because everything we've talked about so far is the foundation for making your English storytelling feel natural, emotional, and confident.
You know, Jason, as we're talking about all these past tense verbs and how they connect into stories, I'm realizing something important. Many learners already know the verb forms, but they don't feel confident putting them together. They often say things like, I want to talk about my day, but I don't know how to make it sound smooth. And I think we should help with that right now while everything is still fresh.
That's a great idea, Lily. And you're right. Most learners know the verbs, but they get nervous when trying to connect everything. So maybe we can show them how to turn simple past tense sentences into something natural and warm, like the way people speak in real life.
Exactly. Let's start with something very simple. Imagine someone wants to talk about their weekend. Maybe they think, I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went outside. Those are good sentences, but we can help them turn it into a story. Something like, last weekend was really nice. I woke up early, ate breakfast, and then went outside to enjoy the fresh air.
Yes. You see the difference? The same actions, but more natural, more connected, and not complicated, just a few linking words.
Right. And if they want to add more details, they can add simple past tense verbs. For example, I walked to a cafe, I talked to my friend, we watched people walking by, we drank coffee and ate pastries. That sounds like real conversation.
And the beauty of the past tense is that it helps you share memories. Sharing memories is how we connect with people. It doesn't matter if your grammar is perfect. What matters is that you speak and express yourself.
I completely agree. And I want our listeners to truly understand this. You don't need complex vocabulary or long sentences. You just need to be present in your story. You can describe feelings, places, actions. For example, I felt relaxed. The weather was perfect. The cafe was busy. My friend was happy. All of those simple sentences create a clear picture.
And when people hear your story, they feel like they're there with you. That's powerful. I remember when I first learned a new language, the moment I could describe my day in the past tense, I felt like a superhero.
That's the feeling we want our listeners to have too. Because once you can talk about your past, you can talk about your life. And that's real communication.
You know what I think would help? If we build a short example story together, something our listeners can use as inspiration, a simple but natural story that mixes regular and irregular verbs, feelings, actions, and descriptions.
Good idea. Let's imagine a simple day. I'll start. Yesterday was a great day. I woke up early because the sunlight came through my window. I stretched, got out of bed, and made myself a warm cup of tea.
Nice. Then I can continue. After that, I went outside for a short walk. The air was cool and the streets were quiet. I saw a few people walking their dogs, and I smiled because the dogs looked excited.
Perfect. Then, when I came back home, I cooked breakfast. I made eggs and toast, and I ate everything while listening to my favorite music.
And then, in the afternoon, I met my friend at a cafe. We talked for a long time about work, life, and funny memories. We drank iced coffee because the weather was warm.
And finally, in the evening, I felt tired but happy. I took a shower, read a few pages of a book, and went to bed early. It was a simple day, but it was wonderful.
That's such a nice example. And look how natural it sounds. Nothing complicated. Just simple past tense verbs, connected nicely. Listeners can definitely build their own story this way.
Exactly. And listeners, we want you to do this. After listening, try to create a short story about your day yesterday, or your weekend, or your last holiday. You can make it very short. The important thing is to use the verbs we practiced. You don't need perfection, you just need to speak.
Yes, And even if you make mistakes, that's totally okay. Mistakes are not your enemy. They are your teacher. The more you use past tense verbs, the faster they become automatic.
And here's a tip to help. Speak out loud. Even if you're alone, speak out loud. For example, yesterday I woke up late. I ran to the bus stop. I arrived at work. I worked until evening. I went home. Saying it out loud trains your mouth and your brain at the same time.
And if you want to practice irregular verbs specifically, you can tell a short story using only them. Something like, yesterday I went to the park. I saw my friend. We ate snacks. We drank lemonade. We took photos. It becomes natural so fast.
Absolutely. And before we finish, I think we should remind our listeners of some of the most important verbs we covered today, because repetition helps memory.
Good idea. Let's list some. Go, went. Eat, ate. Drink, drank. See, saw. Take, took. Come, came. Make, made. Give, gave. Feel, felt. Write, wrote. Wake, woke. Buy, bought. Bring, brought. Meet, met.
And don't forget the regular verbs. Walked, talked, cooked, watched, played, listened, worked, visited, cleaned, learned.
And of course, was and were. Those two appear everywhere in past tense conversations.
Yes, I was tired. You were busy. It was sunny. They were excited. So helpful.
You know, Lily, the more we talk about this, the more I realize how powerful the past tense is. It's like opening a door to who you were, what you did, and what you experienced.
That's beautifully said. And I want our listeners to feel that they can tell their story too. Your story matters, and English is just a tool that helps you share it with the world.
And we're always here to help make that journey easier, more enjoyable, and hopefully a little funnier along the way.
Definitely funnier. I mean, we've had sheep following me and butterflies chasing you. That's already enough comedy for one episode.
Hey, that butterfly moment was serious. I feared for my life.
Of course you did. But look how naturally we're still using the past tense while joking.
That's the perfect example. When English becomes part of your personality, everything feels easier.
So I hope today our listeners learned something useful, felt a little more confident, and maybe even smiled during our stories. That's always our goal.
And before we say goodbye, we want to encourage you, yes, you listening right now, to practice your own story today. Even a short one. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments. Share it with someone. Your English improves every time you choose to speak.
You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Every sentence you say today is building the English you will have tomorrow.
And we're really proud of you for being here, learning with us. Thank you for spending your time with us today.
Yes, thank you so much. We always enjoy sharing these moments with you, and we hope you feel the same warm connection.
And with that, I think it's time to wrap up our conversation for today. It was full of stories, learning, and good energy. We can't wait to see you again in the next episode.
Take care, everyone. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep telling your story.
Goodbye for now, friends. See you next time.